Hello, this is Megan Rittmaster, registered dietitian nutritionist with Foundational Journey, and I'm just here to talk to you about a subject that is near and dear to my heart, especially right now, since I am at the end of the stages, but I am in my 9th month of pregnancy, and so I really wanted to talk about nutrition and optimizing nutrition when it comes to pregnancy and this awesome time. And so I'm going to do 3 different segments. First, want to just talk about the nutrients that we really want to focus on, ones that increase and help support pregnancy. And then the other 2 segments, I will talk about gut health and the importance of that during pregnancy, and then managing those nasty symptoms that you might be experiencing. So first off, I just wanted to talk about your daily caloric requirements, and people get very confused when it comes to these. You know, the saying of, well, we're eating for 2, which unfortunately we aren't. Our needs just increase a little bit when it comes to calories, and they increase typically in the 2nd and 3rd trimester. So our first trimester, our calorie needs really don't increase very much, if at all. It all depends on the person, but definitely during that 2nd and that 3rd trimester, we see a need for those calories increasing. So in the 2nd trimester, we are really looking at an increase of about 200 to 300 calories per day. So that can be anywhere from a peanut butter and jelly sandwich added in during the day, or adding a couple different snacks of nuts and seeds, maybe some trail mix a little bit throughout the day. It's not a ton that we're adding, but it's enough to help with that growth period for the fetus. During the 3rd trimester, we're really going to see around 300, 350 calories. And again, depends on the needs of the individual. If you're also exercising, maybe you're still lifting weights, or any underlying health conditions, it all depends on the needs of each person. So it varies, but those are just kind of the standard guidelines. And we want to make sure that those calories are coming from healthy sources. So we want the quality and not necessarily the quantity, and we don't want to just be giving in to our cravings all day. That can meet those requirements, and it can also go above and beyond when we do that. But making sure that we're getting an adequate and quality protein, we're getting in our fruits and our vegetables, whole grains, and healthy fats. And so that can be from like fatty fish, that can be from nuts and seeds, avocados are great, coconut oil, olive oil, adding those to dishes, increasing those a little bit, can also be very beneficial because it also gives us those good fats, which will help with that growth period, that brain development for baby as well. So some of the key nutrients. Protein, that's going to be one that increases during this time. So typically the range is about 75 to 100 grams per day. Again, it depends on the individual, but making sure that we're getting enough. So that can be coming from the animal protein sources, dairy or cheeses, nuts and seeds you can get some protein from. And then legumes, different beans, lentils is always a great source as well, tofu, those kind of things. Making sure that we're having a good balance and not overdoing it when it comes to the animal protein consumption as well. So maybe you have a meatless day, and so you're going to be having a lot more beans and legumes, and that gives us fiber, which is great. And protein positively affects the growth of fetal tissue, including the brain, also helps the breast and uterine tissue to grow during this time in pregnancy, and it plays a role in increasing our blood supply as well. Another heavy hitter is going to be folic acid. So experts recommend about 400 to 800 micrograms per day, and it's really within the first 28 days after conception that it's really important. It's important throughout all of pregnancy, but it's those first 28 days where we can really see those neural tube defects form, and so that folic acid can really fight against that and make sure that we're not getting those neural tube defects to form at all. So if you are, trying to conceive, start taking a prenatal now, increase your leafy green consumption, increase citrus fruits, fortified breakfast cereals, and make sure that you're just getting in enough folic acid. So another vitamin is going to be vitamin C. It promotes wound healing, tooth and bone development, metabolic processes, and that only increases really a little bit, but it's really going to help with that postpartum healing time as well, so that our cells can regenerate, the generation of cells for baby too. And vitamin D is another one that is going to be increased to 600 international units per day. And getting outside, that's the best source of vitamin D, but you can also add a supplement as well. It's essential for the bones and the teeth of baby. It works with calcium. It's also essential for healthy skin and eyesight. DHA is going to be another one, and that is really going to be important during that third trimester. It's also important for lactating women, and you want to make sure that you're increasing it by at least 200 milligrams. You can find it in prenatals. Not all prenatals will have DHA, so you'll need to get an additional supplement in order to meet the requirements. But it's that last trimester of pregnancy when the growth of the brain and accumulation of DHA in neural tissues is at its highest. So you really want to make sure that you're getting it in at that time. Getting it in from like fatty fish too. So salmon, trout, herring, mackerel, tuna, those are also going to be great sources of getting in that DHA and those healthy fats. Calcium requirements increase to you want to get around 1,000 milligrams during pregnancy. Helps our body regulate fluid, and it helps baby's bone and teeth buds to start forming. And if we're not getting enough calcium, then the baby's basically going to take from our calcium stores. So we want to make sure, that we're keeping up with the growth of the baby, but then also maintaining our calcium levels. So make sure that you're getting in enough calcium. It doesn't have to be through supplements. You can get it through leafy greens, obviously get it through dairy products as well. You can get it through fish, and fortified juices as well, but we typically try to steer clear of those. I'd rather get it from those whole sources and milk and dairy products. And other micronutrients that are important, iron is definitely important in this time. If we're running low on iron, then that's when anemia can occur. We're feeling really fatigued. So our blood volume increases, and we want to make sure that we're increasing our iron needs as well. Make sure that you're drinking enough fluid in addition to your fruits and your vegetables. They'll give you some fluid as well, but you want to make sure that you're getting at least 10 to 12 glasses per day. And I know people are so used to the 8 glasses being hard enough, so 64 ounces, but your blood supply is increasing, your cells are in overdrive, you're growing another human, so make sure that you're staying hydrated because complications can occur if you're not getting enough. So we want to make sure with, having a healthy and balanced plate, only really getting the calories that are needed and increased during pregnancy so that we don't go over and above. We don't want to end up gaining too much weight. Sometimes it's out of our control, especially if it's fluid intake. But making sure, that we're not gaining too much because that can put a lot of stress on our body, put a lot of stress on baby, and complications can arise. We also don't want to gain too little weight either because that can also have a lot of stress on our body, our immune system, baby's immune system. So making sure that we're finding that balance, and each appointment with your doctor, you'll likely get weighed, and so they'll see that gain and that trend, and just have a chit chat with them. And they'll let you know. Foods that are great during this time, think of like carrots, cooked greens, pumpkins, spinach, sweet potatoes, red sweet peppers. Those are going to be high in vitamin A. Getting in a variety, a color of the rainbow is what I like to say when it comes to fruits and vegetables. You're going to get in a whole bunch of different nutrients that are really good for you, really good for baby. and having kind of shopping that perimeter of the store. So avoiding those center aisles if possible. If you are shopping in the center aisles, get things that have minimal ingredients. If you're getting canned fruits, make sure it's in their own juices, not with added sugar or in heavy syrup. At least go for the light syrup version. Frozen vegetables are great. Frozen fruit is great. I'm all for that. They have a variety of nutrients in them. They're picked at their highest peak and then frozen, so you're still getting a good quality food when you're in the freezer section. Unless it's that processed food, then I want to make sure that you're getting at least minimally processed and minimal ingredients type stuff. Foods to avoid would be those luncheon or deli meats because of that risk for listeria, soft cheeses, unpasteurized cheeses, that can increase risk for bacteria. And unpasteurized milk, again, can increase that risk for bacteria. Undercooked meats, seafoods, eggs, want to steer clear of that. Make sure they're all well cooked so that we don't have an increase in bacteria, infections, that kind of stuff. So overall, do the best that you can when it comes to your nutrition. Really don't give into the food cravings too often, but allow for that balance. Allow yourself to enjoy things too. Really look for that perimeter shopping, the whole foods, make half your plate vegetables, add healthy fats in there, and do the best that you can. We don't want to stress ourselves out by, is this the right food? Is this not the right food? Because that doesn't help us either during this time. But congratulations on becoming a mama, and thank you so much. And I will be looking forward to talking to you in the next segments.